Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter, August second week IPOs. This is part one. Although next week come IPOs हैं, but we were not prepared, so we thought we'll do part one and part two. Part two में Bluestone कर लेंगे. But part one is where we are doing just 4 IPOs today, so should be a short session. And also what we wanted to do was just be conscious of the times, the evening time. Also, we are trying to see if we can figure out a better time. So we are doing today morning, but again, nothing is sure where we'll continue, but we'll definitely be posting them on our YouTube, these spaces. So if you haven't joined our YouTube until now, definitely go ahead and do that. The link is in the pinned comment. So uske saath, let me just start with this week's IPOs. Before I actually set up the agenda for the day, just want to highlight a couple of things which almost everyone knows by now, but I definitely want to make sure and highlight in bold, italic, and underline that we are not SEBI registered research analyst. None of this opinion, what we share is qualified opinion. All of this is what we are planning to do. Do not take this on face value. आप अपना due diligence definitely करें. Talk to your financial advisor or understand, read DRHP, etc., and then take a decision. We would not be liable for any profits or losses. So it's your decision end of the day. So definitely you do you. What we do is we just tend to share what we feel about the company. And this is especially important considering last week where some of the listings where we were positive on didn't open well. Some of the listings where we were negative opened very well and did give a follow-up run-up. But that's something which is market, right? Not everyone can be right all the time, and we don't pretend or predict that we are right. If we are right, then we wouldn't be doing this. This is just our read. So definitely, you do you. If you feel that you have a counter opinion to what we are saying, definitely express it out. We would be more than happy to voice it out, reason it out, and then probably try and find out. But again, even if we do, there's never always a right answer, right? These are opinions. Market works on opinions and not facts. So you do you is what I'll kind of leave with. But what we have also felt is that it just leads to a slight dilemma where we are giving verdict or something like that for IPO. So we'll probably try and avoid doing that. So B se aap dekhoge, what we'll do is we'll focus a lot more on facts, which are like hard facts in terms of like कि ये IPO, ये company ये करती है, इसका ये होगा. And then probably softly towards the end we'll mention that what are we planning to do. I would again say do not do. If you are not convinced, do not focus on what are we planning to do. Try and focus more on कि हम company क्या करती है, उसके बारे में हम क्या कह रहे हैं. Is it right? Is it wrong? Have your opinions, and then this is just a base for everyone to figure out. And we are also learning with every day, right? We are learning from you guys. You are learning from us, and vice versa. Like we don't pretend to be experts in any possible way. It's day one of learning for me at least. Second thing, as I said, YouTube channel अगर आपने join नहीं किया है तो वो join कर लो. There's also a membership feature there. So what we'll be doing is that we'll just be interacting a lot more on those membership tabs, member only tabs, and we would also slowly transition these videos to members only. We still want to see how to do that, but we'll slowly transition these videos as well there in some way, shape or form. So there's more to come on members only content as well on membership. So see if you want to take membership of the channel, because that also helps us in order to monetize the effort that we are kind of putting in. But with that, let me just quickly set up the agenda for the day. We'll be covering two companies on SME, Star Imaging and Connplex, and then we'll be covering two Mainboard companies, All Time Plastic and JSW Cement. So maybe without wasting much time, let me move forward and set up Star Imaging and Path Labs. Incorporated in 2004, company is a healthcare company providing diagnostic services across a wide range of medical tests. It specializes in imaging services such as X-ray, ultrasound, CT scan, MRI and lab tests, including blood tests, urine tests and other specialized diagnostics. तो हेल्थ केयर कंपनी है, डायग्नोस्टिक सर्विसेज और एमआरआई वगैरह प्रोवाइड करती है. सो रेडियोलॉजी प्लस पैथोलॉजी का कुछ mixture. We'll try and understand more about the company. In terms of the IPO, it's a big size IPO, 70 crores का IPO है, all of which is a fresh issue. Market cap जिस पे कंपनी आ रही है वो 250 crores है, तो फिर 250 crores पे around 70 crores dilute कर रहे हैं, so around 30% if I'm not wrong. FY 25 के financials की बात करूं तो revenue 84 CR है, PAT 16 CR है, so 16 CR PAT पे 250 crores market cap पे आ रही है, so around 15, 16 PE per year, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And in terms of the LM is Share India Capital. So with that, over to you, Sachin, to talk about Star Imaging.
Am I audible?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. So, actually, the issue also has an OFS. I will talk about it later. So, just to clarify that. So, Star Imaging is started in 1978. It was a family business run by Mr. Pawan Gupta, who is the current person leading the business. And now it has transitioned to a private limited company and a public limited company. So they both have NABL and NABH accredited diagnostic services, and they offer both comprehensive pathology and radiology services, X-rays, ultrasound, CT, MRI, etc. Currently, they operate around 23 centers. Four are in Delhi. Two of them are equipped with CT and MRI machines, and other two are at planned level of upgradation. 17 to 18 centers are in Uttar Pradesh. One additional center is in Nasik also, and that is part of their B2G expansion that they're trying to do. They also have a small minor contribution from one education and training subsidiary, which is very minimal, around 11 to 10, 12 lakhs revenue per year. So currently 80% of the revenue comes from pathology, and the rest 20% comes from neurology, cardiology, etc. In that division, around 38% of the revenues is from B2C, direct to consumer, getting to local patients, etc. And 57% of the revenues is from B2G, which are long-term contracts, generally in tender and via PPP model, public-private partnership, 7 to 12 years of duration. So this is primarily in Uttar Pradesh and Delhi, and this involves high-end machines that are actually installed in the hospitals only. So around 20 machines they have installed in around 18 to 20 locations, and the rest 5 to 10% is the B2B segment. So with that, in that they have tie-up with local nursing homes, hospitals, etc. So generally for the capex that they do for a center, it requires around 10 to 20 crores of amount. For B2G, it takes around 2 years for to get the payback of those machines, and in higher end segment like 20 crores plus, it can take more, around 3 to 3.5 years. They generally go for new machines because that is part of the tenders that they bid for. In some cases they also go for refurbished machines, which is from Europe and Japan, etc., which cost lesser than the newer ones. So in terms of revenues, if we take just for the CT and MRI machines, that if those machines can do around 3 CR to 3.5 CR per year, that leads to break even in the timelines that is above mentioned. Like 2 years it takes for break even, and on 3 year per revenue, it will lead to break even of those machines. And in B2G centers, since the capex is high, so break even is also higher. Break even timeline is also higher. So mature centers generally generate around 10 to 15 crores of revenue per year, which is growing at around 20% per year. And new centers grow around 35% per year. They bid for around 5 government tenders. In that they won 2, and 2 tenders were cancelled. And in one of the tenders they were L2, that is just second best to the lowest bidder. So they haven't planned any franchisee model as of yet, so to penetrate more into other geographies. Coming to their financials, FY23 they did 58 CR of revenues, 10% EBITDA. There was slight dip in from FY22. This was because of the post-COVID normalization, and that led to this dip in FY23. In FY24 they did 79 CR of revenues, 30% EBITDA. In FY25, they did 84 CR of revenues and slightly increase in EBITDA to 35%, and the PAT is around 19%. This is primarily due to the reduced testing expenses they catered to, and there were also lesser purchases, and since they did no new capex on new centers, so FY25 PAT is slightly better than FY24. In FY26, they are looking to upgrade their existing facilities. No new centers are being opened, but just machines are being upgraded in 2 to 4 new centers, like in Noida and Gurugram, and they are also looking for inorganic growth if and when any prospects come live. And as per their working capital estimates, they are suggesting for around 40 to 40% growth. Coming to the risks, there is intense competition in this segment, with local hospitals also integrating in-house diagnostics, and online platforms also coming up with low-cost pathology test and radiology test. Payment delays, especially in the B2G segment is quite high, around 6 to 7 months they take for payment. So that also means higher receivables and negative impact on the cash from operations. Coming to their IPO use, around 12 CR is for repayment of debt with 9.5% of rate of interest. 5 CR is for upgrading existing centers with new machines, and 25 CR is for working capital requirements. Coming to the pricing, it involves a large 20% OFS, and in terms of pricing, it's around 15 to 16 times trailing and around 11 times on forward basis. On EV EBITDA basis, which is a better metric for these centers and diagnostic chain operations, it is around 10 times, including the debt repayment that they will do from the IPO proceeds. The exact peer in SME can be Chandan, which recently listed and has moved up very recently in terms of share price. So it trades near 25 P and 14 times EV of EBITDA. Has a similar growth outlook, but has more number of centers, around 40 to 42 centers. And their new center is also coming live in Jankipuram, which is under construction. And they also have a hospital and pharmacy business. So that generally means more volume for this diagnostic business of Chandan Healthcare. Coming to the lead manager, it's Share India, which has decent reputation. Anchors included Invicta Continuum and Negen was also there, which took a majority of share. The RHP drafting is poor because at places it is for some places it's mentioned as increase when actually it has to be mentioned as decrease, like in revenue and cost of expenditure, cost of material sold, etc. And many sections are not updated to March 25 yet. It dates back to September 24 only. And the company also has some related entities which are into diagnostics, but they are mentioned as less comprehensive than Star Imaging. Don't know the actual thing about that, but just they have mentioned it. More use of more IP proceeds from the OFS to set up more centers in diverse geographies could have helped, but it is what it is for now. So that was about Star Imaging.
Perfect. Thank you, Sachin. एक दो question है मेरे. From what I understand, it's a very old company, right? So why has like growth has been rather slow, right? For like what is changing now? If the promoter mentioned anything. Second, is it majorly only in Delhi and UP, or is it also present in Bombay, Mumbai, etc.? And third question, how much of the business is radiology versus pathology? Like radiology कितना है और pathology कितना है? Because pathology, from my understanding, is very low mode now, right? Like anybody can open a path lab.
Yes.
So, like,
Yes. The radiology is 80%, so that is something to benefit, and the pathology, neurology, cardiology, etc. is 20%. So they have upper hand there. For the time that they took to transition to current state, because this was a family business earlier, which then slowly transitioned to partnership, proprietorship. And Mr. Pavan Gupta is actually not a doctor, but he's BCom graduate. So he's taking time to understand the business, but slowly transitioning it to the current state. So that is why it has took some time, but they are trying to see how and when to figure out and to move apart from the regions that they already operate. So primarily they were in Delhi OPs, and now to move ahead and from to other regions as well, they are coming for the IPO and to expand their presence.
got it. That is very helpful. With that, we have covered Star Imaging. Just highlighting, Star Imaging is closing on 12th. Then Connplex Cinemas is closing on 11th, and then All Time and JSW Cement are also closing on 11th. We will talk towards the end कि हम क्या करने वाले हैं in terms of our IPOs, but that is what the review of Star Imaging was. So with that, we can probably move forward and talk about the second company, which is Connplex Cinemas. Setting it up, incorporated in 2015, company develops theaters and enters franchisee agreements for film exhibitions and distributions, sharing revenue at various franchise cinemas, all under the brand name Connplex. So basically cinema theaters जो होते हैं, जो small size के होते हैं, majorly in suburban and rural regions, tier 2 cities, that is where Connplex is developing. It is more like, let's say, Cinepolis for tier 2 cities, if I had to like say something like that. Setting up the IPO, it's a 90 crore IPO, 90 crore ka IPO, all of which is a fresh issue. So 90 crore company raise kari at a market cap of 338 crores. So around 30%, 29% का dilution है. FY25 के financials की बात करूं तो revenue 97 crores है और PAT 19 crores है. So they are coming at like 17 P, if I'm not wrong. 17 P trailing, something like that. LM की बात करूं तो LM Beeline Capital है. So with that, over to you, Rohit, to talk about Connplex.
Thanks, Manish. So Connplex is a cinema brand. So it's a little bit like your PVR. What PVR is a multiplex. Connplex is trying to do that for these small scale cinemas. But they are the brand. They are the customer facing brand. They're a new age cinema for focused on tier 2, tier 3 towns. The logic is that in India, which is where people keep talking about India, right, as an ABCD market, astrology, Bollywood, cricket, and devotion, I guess. That B of Bollywood, which is so central to us, and how movies are so central to us. The penetration of cinemas in India is actually surprisingly low compared to our population. We have around 10,000 screens in India, versus whatever 1.4 billion population. For a similar population, China has 70,000 screens. US with one third the population has 40,000 screens. So, and while we are still at just 10,000 screens. So the idea is that we have the interest and the enthusiasm for movies and content, but not as many quality theater going experience. So that's the thesis with which these promoters started this business. They operate in a franchise model, which is again very different from what say PVR does, which operates in a asset heavy model, where they get a franchise to set up the majority of the cinema. What these guys do is they provide some very specific things, which includes the projectors, the screens, and some of the technology aspects. But everything else, which is all the interiors and the civil work and all of that, gets done by the franchise. And then they share the revenue, where 80% of the revenue, once you take out the money that goes to the producers and the distributors of the film, and once you take out taxes, 80% goes to the franchise and 20% is kept by Connplex. So that is, simply speaking, their model. So they are trying to build an asset-light cinema chain, like an Oyo, let's say, for cinemas using the Connplex brand. Today, typically, for a franchise, it would cost, as per the promoters, it would cost around 2.5 crore as their upfront expense. I'll just question this number later when I look at the P&L, or when I come to the P&L, but at least based on what they say, it will cost around 2.5 crore. The company then invests another 50 lakhs typically for these LEDs, projectors, and servers and stuff like that. And with that, in about 100 days, you can set up a 3-screen, 250-seater cinema. The idea behind this 250-seat is that that's the typical occupancy of a multiplex. So if you start with 250 seats, obviously you will also not be fully utilized, but you can probably operate at 30-35%, maybe 40% utilization, which is what these guys gun for. I think in one of the interviews, he mentioned that they're at 30-35% occupancy rate. For PVR, for example, the number is 25%. They operate 3 types of cinemas. They operate 3 categories, let's say, like an entry level, a mid level, and a luxuriance level. And they've said that they want to focus more on the luxuriance as well as they go forward. They today have 66 screens across 25 cinemas, so 25 locations. And they try to choose their locations also in places where there is a good population, but there is no screen, or the screens are very old, very, local kind of screens. They try to find a franchisee partner over there who's willing to invest. And they, as per them, they have basically for the next 2 years, they have enough screens already signed up with LOIs, which is, from a plan perspective, they want to take the 66 screens to plus 60 more screens for this year and plus 75 screens for next year. So that will take them to nearly 200 screens by the end of FY27. Of course, execution, it's quite a jump from what they have done so far, but that at least is their plan. And they say that they have the LOIs for these. They make their revenue, I think, like I mentioned, what Connplex does is they actually take all of the revenue, then give back 80% to the partner, at least for the majority of the revenue sources. They'll take all of the revenue, so the ticket booking will come to them, the F&B booking, all of that will come to them. So all the money comes to them, and then they keep their cut. They give away the cut to the distributors, and then they give the rest back to the franchisee. So their revenue sources are, as you'd expect, it is stuff like F&B, the tickets, obviously, advertising, the one that when you go to a cinema and you get really irritated in the middle, where you have non-stop ads, all of that revenue they will get, or they'll keep like 20% of that. They also do a lot of corporate bookings because the size of the theaters are smaller. It's perfect for the 60, 70, corporates, 60, 70 member corporate team events. They said that they did almost 300 of that just in the last year. They do some collaborations. They do, for example, they have a collaboration with Coca-Cola. So that'll obviously share some revenue for them. Convenience fee is another one where a Book My Show would charge a convenience fee, and part of that convenience fee will also come to to Connplex. Even the convenience fee that obviously Connplex has on their own app will also come to them. So it looks like they've actually thought of everything. In fact, there's more. He mentioned on the call that on one of these calls that they are even on Swiggy and Zomato, where you can order food. So it's like the cloud kitchen part also, people can order popcorn if they want to watch something, they can order a Connplex popcorn. I mean, some of these are still small, but it feels like they've thought of every possible avenue to monetize their business. When you come to their numbers, last year they did about 95 crore of revenue with, I think 20 crore PAT. Let me just double check the PAT number. They did 19 crore PAT last year, which is quite a jump and feels quite high. And even I couldn't fully understand why their PAT margin is equal to, if 100% of their revenue they're measuring and 20% is what they keep and the 80% goes to their partner. That means the rest of the revenue. So you can say that is what's happening in F&B, that's what's happening in tickets, that's what's happening in advertising and so on. That means the rest of their revenue, so which is about half of their revenue, which comes from construction of the cinema. That means they have very, very high margins there, which did not sit correctly with me. So I'm not too sure about that. Otherwise, the rest of their P&L look okay. The balance sheet look fine, though it will probably get worse. And I'll come to that why. I'll come to why. So their funds are being used for three things. One is they're using it to set up an office. They're spending almost 14 crore to set up an office. They've justified it by saying that that office will also have like an experience center and a place for new franchisees to come and see like an exemplar, cinema, so that it helps in the sales process. But I still felt 14 crore to buy a large 80,000 square foot office seemed excessive. Apart from that, they're doing some capex, which is where they purchase some of the technology, the projectors, LED and so on. Today they take it on rent. If they purchase it, it'll obviously be far lower cost. So that is one thing that can improve their margins. And then of course, working capital. So if you see their growth, they've been adding 15 to 20 screens for the last 2 years. Now suddenly they want to add 60 screens. And one of their contentions is that they're obviously, as an unfunded company, they have to wait for the franchisee to bring in the money. And only then can they set up the cinema. Now with their own working capital, they can do it, and they'll obviously have more receivables from their franchisee partners, but they can use their own working capital to speed up the setting up of the next 60 and 75 screens. So hopefully that is a genuine thing, and the cash flows will not go for a toss in a negative sense, and that they do eventually receive this money. But yeah, they're certainly going to be a lot more aggressive. Now I mentioned that they did 95 crore revenue. Roughly half that revenue was from all of these tickets, F&B, advertising and so on. But the other half is from fit out of the actual cinema. Now here, last year they added about 20 odd screens, which is say 7-8 cinemas. But they did almost, or let's say 10 new cinemas they added last year. They've received almost 47-48 crore in the fit out fees, which they have mentioned in these calls that actually should be around 2.5 crore per cinema. So I mean, that number is not sitting where he said 45 crore, or he said 2.5 crore. If they've added 10 cinemas, that number should be 25 crore, not 45 crore. So that is one thing which, again, I'm not able to understand. Is it to do with some cinemas, the revenue coming at the end? They would have opened on the 1st of April and then the revenue gets recognized. I don't know if there's something to do with revenue recognition here. But if you look at it over the last 4 years, including the DRHP, the total number of cinemas and screens they've added, and if you divide that by the total amount of money they've received from this fit out, which is their construction of the cinema, that fee, it comes about 3.5 crore per cinema. I've just assumed that if they're adding 60 screens, if they're adding 20 new cinemas this year, and they charge 3 crore, from the fit out, they can generate around 60 crore from the fit out. They should be able to generate another 55-60 crore from tickets because they will have that many more screens, and probably another 20 crore from other categories. And I feel that this year they should be able to do around 140 to 150 crore. It also ties in with their working capital calculation. Maybe they can do more, but I'm just assuming this is like a good case for me. If the company delivers, executes, they can grow another 50-60% this year. Probably another 30-40% in the year after this also, which is, in my view, very good. This company is coming at 18 times 17 point something, 17.7 or something on a trailing basis, and it's coming at 13 times EBITDA. Now, the natural question is, how does this compare with PVR? Of course, they're not a direct comparable. PVR is PVR. It is also a multiplex. But and they don't do any of this construction revenue. They're an asset heavy model, very high depreciation. So they're not even profitable. Forget this thing. But if you look at their multiples on sales and EBITDA, PVR is at 1.7 times sales and 10 times EBITDA for an asset heavy business. These guys are coming at 18 times PE because they're asset light and 13 times EBITDA. Again, I would give that because they're asset light. That's okay. With also the promise of much faster growth and a very differentiated model, which is and growing from a very small base. The main risks for this business would be the content, which I think has kind of gotten solved now. Thanks to COVID, I think people have started making a lot more content for OTTs, content for movies. Like that cycle has come back. But obviously that shift to OTT is a risk that people have. But I still feel that the cinema experience is different. And everyone will have their own view here. And of course, a fundamental COVID type shutdown is obviously catastrophic. But yeah, you can't really, that's not just a problem for this business. It's exacerbated for this business. The promoters also, I thought, were quite capable, good experience in the past. This is purely read based on interviews. I don't have any additional on ground info. If anyone does, please do share in the comments. But at least based, I saw 2-3 interviews and I found that good mix of realty background, franchise background for one person, and the other was from film and distribution. And they seem to really know what they're doing and seem to be quite passionate about this. Good anchors also. I think Sanchi, which is Mukul Agarwal, is the largest anchor, 30% I think of the anchor. The rest of the anchors were also pretty good. In pre-IPO, also Dr. Farooq Patel was there, the KP Group promoter. He was in the pre-IPO. A couple of other listed company promoters were there in the pre-IPO. So overall, very strong, interesting business. This is not the kind of business that will list and run. It gives me a little bit of GC Hotels vibes, which also I remember we were quite bullish on, and it listed absolutely flat, fell down. But today it is almost 70-80% above the IPO price and listing price, just because the business was fundamentally strong. This also gives me that kind of vibe. Again, more asset light kind of business, with good growth projections. If they do deliver this company is, in my view, reasonably valued. Beyond that, yeah, I'll wait for the end of the call for whether I'll apply or not.
Got it. Thanks, Rohit. I'm very confused on this company. I'll tell you why. The sector in itself, while GC Hotel was in a great sector, right? Hotels, etc., are poised for growth. Cinema, I don't know. Maybe that is because we belong to, let's say, urban consumption areas where the cinema experience is going down, because of which, let's say, a PVR is kind of struggling. But for a tier 2, tier 3 city, it still makes sense to have those cinema centers which are small. So I feel that this would, like, if you're betting on this company, you're betting against the trend, like against the sector per se, is what I feel. Because I just feel that that sector is poised for disruption. It will disrupt. You can't keep having these Bollywood celebrity larger than life structure for too long now, is what my idea is. So what do you think about that part?
See, I don't think the Indian market is there yet. Like we consume content everywhere. We are a content hungry country. We'll consume it on YouTube. We'll consume it on our phone, on our laptop, on our TV, and in the cinema. Cinema, you have to view it as an experience. So it will be for certain, like I know this, what is this Rajnikant movie that is coming, Coolie. There are some 3-4 people in my society who have booked the 4:30 a.m. show, first day, first show, because it's Rajnikant. Now, that is obviously an experience you are not going to talk about if you are watching it on Netflix, right? So there is an experience angle with cinemas. I think that still cannot be beaten. Like I watched the F1 movie recently, and I would have regretted it if I watched it on TV versus watching it and if I'd missed it in cinema. It's an absolute cinema experience. So I think there's a difference. It suits a different class. I don't think it is going to go away. There was a period 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where my own cinema watching had come down quite a lot. And it has gone back up because the experience is different. You don't get that experience on TV. I'd say we are just all consuming more content. We're not removing cinema from our life. We're just consuming a lot more content at other times. That is my personal view. So, and then when you take that to a tier 2 town where this experience is not even offered, you offer a very high quality luxury experience. Ultimately, these tickets are 250 rupees only. It's not like it's very expensive. but you get an air-conditioned room with a large screen, great sound, recliners. Like you see their cinemas are all like very high-quality recliners. It really looks like it. So the experience is quite different. So I quite like this company and this model. It is not just some local cinema chain. He's actually someone who's put a lot of thought behind what he's doing. Then yes, you have to hope that you are right when you bet on the trend. But my view is that the cinema experience is not dying. It is just being augmented with more content which is coming in the form of this, and watching in a big screen cannot be compared to watching on a phone, which is a majority of the content gets consumed in this tier 2, tier 3. And the step from that to cinema is significant for not a lot of cost. So I don't think it will go away, and there is enough under penetration still for this guy's model.
Got it. I agree to disagree with you 100% on that because I feel he was like experience journal. Like you earlier used to go for a cinema. People used to go for a cinema probably once every week, once every 2 weeks, right? Now you have like once every 2 months the movie comes where you want to go. So it's just like having a asset built for that is somehow not sustainable. Like because your usage per customer would probably decrease. Is
A
what
very, very random point. Like I had gone this Thursday, I had gone for this movie Fantastic Four on a Thursday morning because it was my wife's birthday. I had gone for a movie on a Thursday morning, 11 a.m. show, IMAX for a movie Fantastic Four. 11 a.m. working day. The hall was 50% full. I was shocked. I thought we would be the only ones in the theater. So it really depends. Of course, this is Bangalore urban observation, but it is not gone. I feel, if anything, it's getting very hard to book tickets. Like whenever I try to book a ticket, it's all sold out. If you're booking for the coming weekend. So at least in Bangalore, I don't see that. Maybe that's true in some of the smaller towns. I'm not sure. But at least I don't see that
even
decline.
smaller towns I feel would go more per se because like there you don't have so many other options to do, right? Plus like these guys
Correct,
are small,
exactly.
right? So you can have those corporate events like a cricket game watching or something like that. You can have all of those things as well, right? Which can work out.
Correct.
Yeah, positive on this company. We'll talk more when we essentially discuss more. But yeah, with that, let me quickly move forward to the third company. जिसका नाम है All Time Plastics. Setting up the company, incorporated in 1971, company specializes in manufacturing of plastic houseware products. It mainly manufactures consumer wear for B2B white label clients while also offering products under their proprietary brand, All Time branded products for B2C customers. So plastic कंपनी है जो प्लास्टिक टिफिन बॉटल्स वगैरह कंटेनर्स वगैरह बनाती है. I remember I have bought from DMart a couple of times all time brand के डब्बे. So definite some recognition there. We'll try and understand about the company. We're setting up the IPO. It's a 400 crore IPO, out of which 280 crores का fresh issue है, 120 crores का OFS है. Market cap 1800 crore पे आ रही है कंपनी, which is slightly higher I feel than the pre-IPO which they had done, and the buzz was that it will come at the same price at pre-IPO, but फिर आखिरी में 10% बढ़ गया apparently. But yeah, 1800 crore पे they are diluting close to 22%. FY25 के financials की बात करूं तो revenue 560 crores है, PAT 47 crores है. So they are coming at like 40 times trailing, 40 times FY25 पे आ रही है PE पे. LM की बात करूं तो LM intensive है और DAM capital है. So with that, over to you, Sachin, to talk about All Time.
Am I audible?
Yep.
All right. So All Time Plastics is based out of Maharashtra, and they manufacture high quality consumer wear plastics that is catered to households and hotel industries, etc. These are BPA free plastics, so they also comply with the global standards since they do a large part of revenues are coming from exports. Currently, three brothers are managing the operations: Mr. Kailash Shah, Bhupesh Shah, and Nilesh Shah, who handle entire operations. So they are primarily a B2B player and not a B2C player. So they largely supplies to other B2B entities and companies. Around 92% of their revenues are from white labeling. So they supply to global retailers like IKEA, Marks and Spencers, Tesco, ASTA, Walmart, Dollar Tree, etc. And around 8% of the rest revenues are from proprietary brand, which is sold under the All Time brand. And they also have tie-ups with Vishal Megamart, Zepto, Spencers across 23 Indian states. Currently, they have 1900 SKUs in their portfolio, and around 500 to 550 SKUs they launch every year. 85% of their revenues are from exports from European Union, UK, US is around 10%, and they claim to be India's second largest exporter of this plastic houseware category. In their revenue bifurcation, around 36% of revenues comes from these food storage, kitchen tools, etc. 9% is from other miscellaneous storage. 20% is from those dining tables, buckets ho gaye, dustbin ho gaye, bathroom products ho gaye, etc. Currently, they operate 3 manufacturing units. One is Daman, one in Silvassa, and one in Manakpur. So Manekpur one is started in December 24 only, and the 3 facilities are having a combined capacity of 33,000 metric tons and around 80% of utilization. They also have set up a subsidiary, All Time Plastics BT in Singapore, and one subsidiary in India as well for All Time Bamboo Private Limited, which is focusing on sustainable products. I'll come on that later. They have around 700 employees and 1600 contract workers to cater to this demand. Long-standing relationships with IKEA is a benefit, around 27 years. Diverse portfolio with all these SKUs. Also robotics, they do a large part of their manufacturing is done through automation. So around 100 to 110 machines of 140 machines that they deploy are done with robotics and automation. They also use recycled plastics to manufacture around 28% of their products. Coming to the revenues in FY23, they did around 443 CR of revenues with 17% EBITDA. In FY24, it was 512 CR of revenues and 18% EBITDA. So this increase was primarily due to the Silvassa facility, which was upgraded in time, so it reflected in those revenues. In FY25, the revenues didn't rise much, around 8 to 8.5% only, based on the lower volume growth. This was primarily due to the other 2 facilities being operated at optimum utilization and the Manekpur facility coming live in December 24 only. Receivables are contained in the balance sheet. None are outside the operating cycle. Cash from operations is healthy as well. They claim to have a higher inventory turnover ratio other than the listed peers, which is Shally Engineering and Cello. But this is only for the listed space. The unlisted players are actually having a 17 times inventory turnover. I'll come on that later when we discuss the peers. So for FY26, they are targeting around 15 to 18% of growth, given the higher inventory that they have built in March 25, and similar margins like FY25. Their new facility for which they are taking those IPO proceeds will probably reflect in FY27 and beyond only. And the advanced bamboo facility to transition to more sustainable products, that is in advanced talks for commercial production. Nothing confirmed yet, but so if it will be announced very soon. Now coming to the Singapore subsidiary, which is intended to enhance their global presence. So they have partnered with one Dragon PT also in Singapore as well, which is a marketing agent type, and that will help to supply all times products to any new customers in overseas. So in this JV, what happens is, suppose that all time sells to this subsidiary for 80 rupees, और बाद में ये सब्सिडरी फिर एंड कस्टमर को 100 रुपीज पे सपोज प्रोडक्ट बेच देती है, तो जो 20 रुपीज का जो भी सब्सिडरी का खुद का रेवेन्यू है, उसमें से जो भी प्रॉफिट होगा, उसमें अराउंड 51% ऑफ द प्रॉफिट विल गो टू ऑल टाइम एंड द रेस्ट 49% ऑफ द प्रॉफिट विल गो टू दिस ड्रैगन पीटी, व्हिच इज अ marketing agent. So this reduces marketing expense for all time, but it also means some less revenues. Given if the volumes are not increased, the revenues will be declining. Coming to the risk, around 60% of the revenues is from IKEA, which is a big risk, but they have around 27 years of relationship, so that should not materialize anything in negative. The shift of consumers to more eco-friendly materials like bamboo and glass, etc., may reduce the plastics demand, but nothing in the short term and medium term. And they have very low own brand revenues, around 8% only, so that they need to focus on more going ahead. US revenues is around 10% only, but we have seen that what tariffs and all can do. Nothing has announced as of yet for these items, but who knows the future. For the IPO use, around 143 CR is for repayment of borrowings, which will save around 10 crores of interest post-tax, and 121 And around 113 CR is for new molding machines for 36 machinery that they will be adding in FY26 only. So this will increase the Manikpur facility capacity to 16,500 tons in FY26, and they have further planned expansion in FY27 out of internal accruals so far for 22,500 metric tons, and that will be done post IPO. So nothing announced as yet. Coming to the pricing, this issue has around 120 CR of OFS. Pre-IPO was done around at 248 per share, in which Abacus took part, and now the IPO is coming at 10% higher. So it is coming at 38 times trailing, 37 to 38 times trailing, and on forward basis, if we go by the projections, it is coming at 30 times with 62 crores of PAT. So comparable player is Shaily Engineering, but because Shaily is also in B2B, Cello is largely in B2C. Shaily has other good products as well for healthcare and etc. And it is trading near 80 times. Now, why it is trading near 80 times? Because it holds a top position for this injector pens, and there is one GLP-1 drug opportunity in India as well floating around. So that is the reason for its higher valuation. There are other unlisted peers as well, Ratan Plastics, Asian Plastoware, etc. All of these have similar EBITDA and PAT margins like all time, but they are growing much better at 24 to 25%, whereas all time is growing at 15 to 18%. Anchors were decent. No one seemed more robust to go in full force for that anchor allocation. Canara Robeco was there, Abacus is there again, Edelweiss is there, Nuvama crossover fund is also there. So I felt it's decent. It's also benefiting from that China plus one strategy in some senses, and promoter history and background is also good. So decent enough. That's all.
Got it. Thank you, Sachin. Very comprehensive.
All right.
बहुत ज़्यादा questions तो नहीं है मेरे पास, but yeah, you are saying this will grow at like 15 to 18%, and it's a fairly uh, like a settled business. So it exponential growth nahi hogi. It would only be incremental from my understanding. None of those sustainable bamboo, etc. can probably become very big, right? Or something, if something sticks, it will probably have to stick like, let's say something like a GLP-1 wala jo injectable device stick for Shelly. Maybe something can happen here, but nothing is in public domain in terms of like what is that future growth coming from.
100% correct. That is
And
what it is.
and वो जो 280 crores ये raise कर रहे हैं उसका क्या करने वाले हैं? Like what are they planning to do with that 280 crore? Any new facility or anything like that? कोई interview available है online? Yeah. Sorry.
Interview तो नहीं है. 143 CR is for repayment of borrowings, short term and long term both. So that will save in interest cost, and 113 to 115 CR is for new machinery to increase that Manikpur facility capacity. So that will be deployed there, and the rest is OFS and GCP.
ठीक है, समझ गया. So again, it's an interesting company, but somehow like valuation was slightly expensive than what I would have thought. But having like IKEA as a partner, it's a it is those like slow growth companies which will not like go completely, difficult for it to go completely out of business, right? Like it's one of those which will continue to do well. But like, do you think like ये plastic वगैरह का angle है कोई कि plastic regulation वगैरह something might come up because of which they might like face, like the sector in itself might face some problem because of them mainly making plastic?
Nothing in short term, because they are not the ones only operating in these plastics, and they also are coming up with that bamboo facility. So they are trying to diversify, but nothing in short term that takes their entire business off the spin.
Got it. ठीक है, एक बार फिर से लास्ट में बात करते हैं because this is also closing on 11th and Connplex is also closing on 11th and Star is closing on 12th. So all three will clash. So we'll kind of form the priority order. Before that, we definitely want to go ahead and cover the OG company which we wanted to talk about, which is JSW Cement. Setting up JSW Cement, incorporated in 2006. Company is a manufacturer of green cement in India and is committed for sustainability and innovation. The company operates 7 plants across the country, including 1 integrated unit, 1 clinker unit, and 5 grinding units, and has total grinding capacity of 20 million metric tons per annum. So that's about the JSW Cement. Cement की company है, South में prominent है काफी. Setting up the IPO, it's a 3600 crore IPO, out of which 1600 crore fresh है, 2000 crores का OFS है. Company is coming at a market cap of 20,000 crores, so diluting close to 18%. FY25 के financials की बात करूं तो revenue 6,000 crores था and PAT was negative 160 crores, so they had made a loss of 160 crores at a PAT level. Maybe that is because of depreciation. We'll find out. I don't know. LM की बात करूं तो LM is JM, Access, City, DAM, Goldman, Jefferies, Kotak, and SBI Capital. So with that, over to you, Tanmay, to talk about JSW Cement.
Is my voice audible?
Yep.
So first of all, I will tell you one thing कि यार JSW Cement is like very tough, बहुत ज्यादा complexity पूरे इसमें, and I'll try to explain everything, I would say, the point after point. So you need to listen very carefully. Actually, personally, I was not today in a position to do a space, but as it was already committed, no, we will be concluding this. So JSW Cement Limited is India's 8th largest cement company in terms of total installed capacity and sales volume. The company has a grinding capacity of 20.60 MMTPA. What is MMTPA? Million metric ton per annum. Okay? And it is also one of the top 3 fastest growing cement companies. The company produces its product portfolio is like blended cement, which has 3 types: PSC, PCC, PPC. GGBS is the second big product, which has like 32% revenue. What is GGBS? Ground granulated blast furnace slag. ठीक है? So ये जो होता है कि आपका जो blast furnace होता है, which is used for production of steel. Okay, तो ये जो JSW स्टील से जो ये निकलता है रॉ मटेरियल, आई वुड से बाय प्रोडक्ट, इसको फर्दर प्रोसेस करके जीजीबीएस में बेचते हैं, जो आपका आरएमसी वगैरह में यूज होता है, विच इज रेडी मिक्स कंस्ट्रक्शन का. तो इंडिया में ये लार्जेस्ट प्लेयर है. इट हैज 84% मार्केट शेयर इन जीजीबीएस, एंड आरएमसी इज ग्रोइंग एट अ वेरी next level scale. It also has some other products like ordinary Portland cement, clinker, and RMC भी ये बना के बेचते हैं. They also do screen slag. They do construction chemicals and small waterproofing compounds. The company has a clinker capacity of 6.44 MMTPA. Now one will say कि यार 20 का मेरा ग्राइंडिंग कैपेसिटी है और 6 का क्यों फिर क्लिंकर. द रीजन इज वेरी सिंपल. द कंपनी यूजेस फ्लाई ऐश. ठीक है, तो ये ग्रीन सीमेंट में ज्यादा काम करते हैं देन योर ऑर्डिनरी पोर्टलैंड पोजोलिना सीमेंट. तो उससे क्या होता है, तुम्हारा फ्लाई ऐश एज अ कंपोनेंट गेट मिक्स्ड इनटू द सीमेंट, और उससे तुम्हारा जो नीड फॉर क्लिंकर दैट गोज डाउन. ठीक है, और क्लिंकर पे भी एक छोटा इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट है, बाद में आता हूँ उस पर. The company has 7 plants. 7 plants. One is in Andhra, one is in Karnataka, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Odisha, and one in UAE. अभी इनका जो टोटल 6.44 मिलियन MMTPA का जो आपका क्लिंकर है, उसमें 6.2 तो यूएई में है. Okay, that is into their subsidiary of JSW Cement LZC, which is a UAE based दुबई साइड में इनका वो है क्लिंकर का कैपेसिटी है. ठीक है. JSW Cement has lowest carbon dioxide emission, CO2 emission intensity in the whole world. So इसका एक छोटा सा नंबर है. So they just emit 258 kilograms CO2 per ton. Okay, so this is 52% lower than the top 10 players in India, and 54% lower than leading global cement companies in the world. Okay, so this is a significant achievement for the company. Now coming on its distribution, the company has 4650 dealers, 8,844 sub-dealers, and it has 158 warehouses, so it's a fairly large distribution unit. The company is raising 3,600 crores, out of which 1,600 is a fresh issue, 2,000 is an OFS. Now everyone here knows कि पहले 4,000 crore का था, out of which 2,000 was fresh, 2,000 OFS, अब ये 2,000 का fresh 1,600 का हो गया है. Out of the 1,600, the company is allocating 800 crores towards doing the part capex in Nagaur, Rajasthan, to set up integrated cement unit, which will have 3.3 MMTPA clinker and 3.5 MMTPA grinding facility. And this is expected to get live in June, July 2026, मतलब Q1 of FY27. But you need to know कि 2700 करोड़ का कैपेक्स है. 2700 में से 800 आईपीओ से जा रहा है, 1200 ऑलरेडी रेस कर डेट थ्रू रेस कर चुके हैं फ्रॉम एक्सिस बैंक, और ये जो बाकी का मतलब एग्जिस्टिंग स्पेंड वो जो डेट था प्लस द एडिशनल 700 800 उसका पूरा ये प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंसिंग कर रहे. ठीक है, तो जो भी इनके बुक्स पे डेट है 6,500 को, उस पे और 700 जुड़ जाएगा इन FY27 26 का सेकंड हाफ. तो now coming on a debt part, 520 crore is towards debt repayment. तो अभी इनके बुक्स पे 5800 crore का डेट है, ठीक है। उसमें से 520 का रीपेमेंट हो जाएगा, आई गेस अप्रोक्स 8% टाइप का कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरिंग, 8.2 टाइप्स, एंड बाकी का 280 crore is towards GCP। कमिंग ऑन फाइनेंशियल्स, अब देखो फाइनेंशियल्स इसका थोड़ा मुश्किल और उसके जो पॉइंट्स आएंगे वो मैं आपको बाद में समझाऊंगा। तो फाइनेंशियल्स को बहुत सीरियसली नहीं लेना है, बट जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ मेंशनिंग आई एम डूइंग दैट, उसका मैं बाद में रिलेवेंस बता दूंगा व्हाई आई एम सेइंग इट। FY23 द कंपनी डिड अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ 5837 crores, operating EBITDA was 816 crores and PAT was 104 crores। अब ऑपरेटिंग EBITDA और EBITDA में क्या डिफरेंस है, दिस आई विल बी कवरिंग, अभी खाली सुन लो थोड़ा सा। FY24 में 6028 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू, 1099 का EBITDA, EBITDA मार्जिन जो FY23 में 14% से अभी बढ़ के 18.23% हो गया, एंड पैट ऑफ 62 crores। FY25 the revenue dropped by 3% to 5813 crores। See this revenue is operating revenue, total revenue से थोड़ा सा ज्यादा ही है, 150-200 crore tips। The EBITDA is 864 crores, the EBITDA margin drops from 18.23 to 14.87, and PAT जो 62 का, तो उसके सामने अभी 164 करोड़ का नेट लॉस आया है, ठीक है। Now one very important metric to check in JSW Cement is the EBITDA per ton। अभी EBITDA per ton I'm just saying at the gross level, ठीक है। EBITDA per ton in FY23 was 777 rupees, in 24 it was 877, in 25 dropped to 683। और जो ऑपरेटिंग EBITDA per ton है वो 23 में 788 था, 24 वो 827 होगा, 25 में 645 गिर गया। एंड नाउ इसका मैं आपको एट अ लेटर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम सब प्लेयर्स के साथ कंपैरिजन भी बता दूंगा कि ये गिरा है एंड वो क्यों गिरा, कैसे गिरा। अभी Q1 में जो रिजल्ट है उसका क्या स्टेटस है, तो आई विल बी टेलिंग दैट एट अ लेटर पॉइंट। द कंपनी हैज फ्यू सब्सिडरीज एंड फ्यू एसोसिएट कंपनीज, इसका बहुत अच्छा रिलेवेंस है। सब्सिडरीज में फर्स्ट आपको शिवा सीमेंट, विच इज अ लिस्टेड कंपनी इफ यू नो, so that is a clinker company। The company JSW Cement was, I guess, 63-64% stake in listed JSW Cement, Shiva Cement, sorry। Second subsidiary JSW Green Cement, which sells proper green cement। तीसरा इनका उत्कर्ष ट्रांसपोर्ट करके कंपनी, which is an integrated or in-house transport and logistics company, and they have one fourth entity called as Camterra Enterprises, जो ट्रेडिंग में ही है, उसका कोई ज्यादा रिलेवेंस नहीं। दे हैव एन एसोसिएट कंपनीज, एन इंटरेस्टिंग हो, अच्छे से सुनना, called as JSW One Platforms। आपने देखा होगा ad recently posted 1 month back। So JSW One Platforms is an unicorn company with a valuation of roughly 9,000 crores, which is your B2B construction materials company, जैसा कॉप बिजनेस इंफ्रा मार्केट रिसेंटली लिस्टेड एरिस इंफ्रा हो गया लिस्टिंग में, एसडी मार्ट हो गया, उसकी तरह ये एक कंपनी है। सो दैट इज अ $1.1 billion company, which is like 9,000 crore का MCAP। So this company, JSW Cement, was 14%, 13.8% precisely stake in that company, ठीक है। Why I'm mentioning that, you have to listen it very very carefully, क्योंकि आपको ये नहीं समझेगा तो आपको कुछ नहीं समझेगा। The company is coming at a market cap of 20,041 crores, मतलब approx 20,000 crores only। P इसका निकलेगा नहीं क्योंकि FY25 में losses थे at I would say gross level। EV EBITDA जो है इसका 36.8 टाइम्स है पोस्ट मनी FY25। I'll tell you the peers, श्री सीमेंट 26.3 है, जेके 14 टाइम्स, अल्ट्राटेक 27 टाइम्स, दालमिया 16 टाइम, और जो सबसे महंगा होता है वो श्री और अल्ट्राटेक होता है, जो 27 टाइम के आसपास, और 36.8 पे आता है, वन विल से कि महंगा है, ठीक है। अभी इसमें इनके पीएनएल में दो एडजस्टमेंट्स है। फर्स्ट इज लॉस फ्रॉम जेवीज एंड एसोसिएट्स ऑफ 98.5 crores, और दूसरा है फेयर वैल्यू लॉस इन द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट, FVTPL बोलते हैं अपन उसको अकाउंटिंग में, तो उसका 144 करोड़ का लॉस है। तो ये दो एडजस्टमेंट्स है। अब मैं इसका ब्रेकअप देता हूँ आपको। जो शिवा सीमेंट था उसने FY25 में 142 करोड़ का नेट लॉस किया, उसमें से इनका 66% स्टेक था। JSW ग्रीन में 2.3 करोड़ का लॉस हुआ, उसमें इसका 99% स्टेक है, 1% विज एन व्हाट वी कैन से वन ऑफ एन एसोसिएट ऑफ JSW सीमेंट। तो दिस कंपनी इज इनटू ग्रीन सीमेंट, और ये FY25 में ये आउट से ऑपरेशनली दे हैव ब्रोकन इवन, और FY25 में मोस्ट लाइकली पैटे रिपोर्ट करेंगे बिकॉज रियलाइजेंस विल इंक्रीज। इनका एक सब्सिडरी उत्कर्ष ट्रांसपोर्ट, उसमें 18.5 करोड़ का नेट लॉस था, उसमें 99.9% ओन करता है। JSW सीमेंट एमजेडसी जो इनका दुबई का सब्सिडरी था, उसका रेवेन्यू 1080 करोड़ से, उसने 154 करोड़ का लॉस किया, ठीक है। सो दिस इज एन जेवी बिटवीन JSW सीमेंट एंड एक्वेरियस ग्लोबल फंड, वो 55-45 जेवी है, 55 ओन्ड बाय JSW सीमेंट। तो दुबई का जो तुम्हारा क्लिंकर का फैसिलिटी था एंड जो सीमेंट दैट आल्सो डन वेरी पुअरली इन FY25। अभी ये पूरे जो मैंने बताया ना, इसका क्रक्स क्या है? क्रक्स ये है EBITDA per ton, कि मैंने 1 टन सीमेंट बेचा तो मैंने कितना अर्निंग्स बिफोर इंटरेस्ट टैक्स एंड डिप्रिसिएशन वो क्लेम किया, बनाया, मैंने कितना पैसा बनाया. इफ यू लुक एट टू रिजल्ट्स, I'll टेल यू. देखो ये जो कंपनी है ना JSW सीमेंट, इट लुक्स लाइक अ पैन इंडिया कंपनी बट इट इजंट एट दिस पॉइंट. इट विल गेट इनटू पैन इंडिया आफ्टर लेटर, बट अभी करंटली ये साउथ इंडिया बेस्ड कंपनी है. एंड यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट इंडस्ट्री डायनामिक्स. जो आपका नॉर्थ इंडिया, दैट इज द मोस्ट लुक्रेटिव मार्केट, क्योंकि वहां पे द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्राइसेस एंड द वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ इज हाईएस्ट. अब से अगर 4 रीजन है, साउथ, ईस्ट, वेस्ट, साउथ, नॉर्थ, तो नॉर्थ का सबसे लुक्रेटिव मार्केट है, क्योंकि वहां पे सेलिंग प्राइस अच्छा है, रियलाइजेशन आर बेटर, ग्रोथ इज बेटर एंड इंफ्रा पुश इज ऑल्सो बेटर. एंड द वर्स्ट मार्केट इज साउथ मार्केट. आई वोंट से द वर्स्ट, बट व्हाई इट इज वर्स्ट, क्योंकि द कॉम्पिटिशन इन साउथ मार्केट इज ट्रिमेंडस. तो वी हैव सीन सम रीसेंट कंसोलिडेशन. ओरिएंट सीमेंट वाज बॉट बाय अदानी. एक और सीमेंट कंपनी दैट इज गोइंग टू गेट अक्वायर्ड बाय अदानी वेरी सून. विल बी गेटिंग दैट कंपनी. दैट ऑफिशियल, उसका ऑफिशियल न्यूज आता ही होगा. पेन्ना सीमेंट वाज अक्वायर्ड बाय Adani at 7-8 thousand crore. That was a big company. Then you got India Cement that was acquired by Ultratech. Then Ambuja ICC, you know the dynamics already. वो whole sim का डिग्री था 22-23 में. So what has happened? The small. So आपका ये भी था, सांगी सीमेंट था. There is a big tough fight happening between Dalmia and Adani for your JP group case assets, that is for like 15-16 thousand crore का asset है. So what is happening? The South market जो बहुत cluttered था, बहुत मुश्किल था, वहां पे एक बहुत aggressive consolidation हो रहा है. And I'll tell you the results out से EBITDA per ton of 2 companies which are mostly into South India. ठीक है, तो वो आपको देख के समझ में आ जाएगा कि मैं क्या बात कर रहा था. रैमको सीमेंट, इसका जो EBITDA per ton था in Q1, that was 966 rupees, which is an increase of 32% YOY and 59% QOQ in EBITDA per ton. दालमिया भारत का 40% YOY था एंड अप्रॉक्स 55% QOQ, जो 1261 रुपीज के आसपास था. सो दालमिया इज अ बिग EBITDA per ton होगा. दे एंजॉय वेरी सुपीरियर मार्जिन ड्यू टू द ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसीज एंड the brand they have in the south markets. Penna numbers we don't have as it is an unlisted. We just have the revenues and PATs, but we don't have the EBITDA. So what I'm trying to tell you is कि जो ये segment FY25 was one of the worst years for this companies. तो इनका जो आपका सेलिंग प्राइस था, रियलाइजेशन था, दैट वर वेरी पुअर इन FY24. जो Q1 में जो रिपोर्टेड है बाय ऑलमोस्ट एवरी सीमेंट कंपनी, दैट has been very strong. ठीक है, तो इनका जो Q1 में EBITDA per ton था, that has increased by like between 30% to 45-50% QOQ, and YOY that has been like roughly 30% times. अभी मैं आपको छोटा सा 3-4 प्लेयर्स का आपको डेटा देता हूँ कि FY24 में कितना था. 25 दिस विल आल्सो इंक्लूड द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेयर्स आल्सो, टू गिव एन फेयर एस्टिमेट और द आइडिया टुवर्ड्स EBITDA पैटर्न. अल्ट्राटेक का FY24 में 1141 था, जो FY24 में घट के 979 हो गया, विच इज लाइक 20% का फॉल. रैमको 1050 से 966, दालमिया 917 से 820. श्री का अवेलेबल नहीं, अंबुजा का मैंने नहीं लिखा. JSW सीमेंट का जो था वो तुम्हारा 877 का 683 हो गया. ठीक है, जो श्री का था वो 40% YOY इंक्रीज हुआ है. नाउ यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग कि जो ये आपका रियलाइजेशन था, दैट हैड बीन वेरी पुअर इन योर whole FY25, which is bouncing back in Q1. And now what is leading to this bounce back and why it should be carried forward. इसका 2-3 मैं आपको रीजंस देता हूँ. फर्स्ट, the revival in the prices, the increase in the government spend, and जो आपका इंफ्रा था उसका कुछ फिर से आ रहा. दैट इज अ वेरी आउट से नॉर्मल सा बेसिक सा स्टेटमेंट. बट द अदर बेटर रीजन आउट से जो मुझे लगा कि इज वेरी वैलिड इज the money spent by this big guys. So if you just check out the balance sheets of top 10 players in India ना, except Nuvoco Vistas and JSW, बाकी जो 8 players है ना, 8 की बैलेंस शीट बहुत अच्छी है. Give me a minute.
Yeah, Tanmay should be back, but in the meanwhile,
Hello.
what?
हाँ.
Yeah, go on.
So what I was telling is कि the amount and money spent by the this all the top cement companies is significantly higher than it used to be in past. तो if you look at the balance sheets of the top 10 players, ठीक है, आपको दो का ही इतना मजा नहीं आएगा बैलेंस शीट. वन इज योर नुवोको विस्तास, which is like Gujarat based company, North India का company है, which is owned by your Nirma group. होगा Nirma का washing powder को देखा होगा, it is owned by Mr. Karsan Bhai Patel, because that is a heavy debt laden company. And second company JSW. ये दो का आप निकाल दो. बाकी आप अगर आठ का अगर आप देखोगे ना बैलेंस शीट, श्री देख लो, अल्ट्राटेक देख लो, अदानी का पूरा होलसिम देख लो. होलसिम इज व्हाट आई मीन बाय होलसिम इज अंबुजा प्लस एसीसी, और अभी उसमें ओरिएंट और पेन्ना वो सब आ गया, पर उसका कंसोलिडेशन अभी तक नहीं हुआ, सो इट्स नॉट प्रूडेंट फॉर मी टू कमेंट. बाकी आप जेके देख लो, दालमिया देख लो, रैमको देख लो. द बैलेंस शीट्स आर वेरी फैंटास्टिक एंड अट्रैक्टिव. What I'm trying to tell you is कि these guys are full of capital, they're well equipped. So these guys are acquiring lot of companies. The consolidation is happening in a big mode. I'll give some examples. Penna was acquired for 7,000 crores. Vadraj was acquired at 2,200 crores. There's another company called as the Hathi Cement that is getting acquired very soon. Your JP associate का assets that is for 16,000 crores. शायद उससे थोड़ा ज्यादा ही होगा. बस दोनों अदानी और दालमिया का दोनों का bid पड़ चुका है for that. Big Seven maybe that will get upgraded. आपका Sanghi Cement was acquired. Your Udaipur Cement was acquired. Your Andhra Cement was acquired by Sagar Cement. There are another, Star Cement is also on the verge of getting acquired. Heidelberg Cement was in talks with Adani Group for getting acquired. उसके बाद आपका जो ये था एक और कंपनी था, that is an Italian or German company, उसके जो Indic assets that got acquired. Then, so what I'm trying to tell, Burhanpur Cement got acquired in 23. So what I'm trying to tell ki these guys have spent almost, I would say, 50 to 60,000 crore rupees in acquiring all this assets, and this is except a JP जो 15-16 हजार का और एक बड़ा एडिशन रह जाएगा. So all these guys have spent that money that they cannot afford the realizations and EBITDA per ton going down. So the prices in the Q1 have been extremely strong from the second half of April month. So जो अगले साल का जो आपका फॉर करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर FY 26 का जो रियलाइजेशन रहेगा, दैट शुड बी एज पर में मिनिमम 30 to 35% YOY अप. इट इज EBITDA per ton. तो ये जो आपको नंबर्स दिख रहे हैं इन द रेवेन्यूज, इफ यू जस्ट डू कि 60% रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम सीमेंट, इतना इतना मैंने बोरी बेचा था, इतना ही मेरा रियलाइजेशन है, यू विल गेट अ स्ट्रेट नंबर्स. I'll now talk on the volume growth estimates and the GGBS growth. GGBS is expected to grow at 13 to 15%, which is 34% revenue of JSW. वो एक अपना और उसका भी थोड़ा सा realization should increase. The cement, which was, I would say, degrowth of 3% in first quarter due to the hike in the prices. 3% minus मारा था, but the whole industry is expecting 5 to 7% growth in the whole FY 26. तो आप अगर मिनिमम बेंचमार्क 5% भी लो ना लोअर एंड, विद द इंक्रीज रियलाइजेशन आपको समझ में आ जाएगा नंबर्स कहां पे जा रहे हैं. एंड इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट टुवर्ड्स JSW सीमेंट, वन थिंग, JSW वन प्लेटफॉर्म जो आपको बोला वो यूनिकॉर्न कंपनी है. मिस्टर पार्थ जिंदाल ऑन रिकॉर्ड्स ही हैज सेड दैट FY 26 में वो ब्रेक इवन पे आ जाएगा. सो वो जो आपका लॉस था वो निकल गया. शिवा सीमेंट इज डूइंग अ ग्राइंडिंग का कैपेसिटी, तो वो जो खाली एक क्लिंकर का कंपनी था वो भी कंप्लीट इंटीग्रेटेड सीमेंट कंपनी हो रहा है. उसका जो आपका लॉसेस था 172 का, दैट ना 220 का, दैट शुड गो डाउन. You have logistics company that will go profitable. You have got your Dubai subsidiary which is going to tick in a big way in FY 26. वो जो बहुत heavy losses पे है, that should come at also break even in FY 26 for sure. So if I consider all this, आपका जो 220 करोड़ का खाली फेयर लॉस एडजस्टमेंट्स और लॉस फ्रॉम सब्सिडरीज एंड एसोसिएट्स था ना, 220 में से आई फील खाली 50 रह जाए, शायद उससे भी कम रह जाए, 40-50 टाइप्स. मतलब 200 का आपका इधर ही पैसा बच गया. Your EBITDA per ton will increase by roughly 30% on the benchmark side. Was to 25. Even that will take your EBITDA margin from 14.5 to approx 18.5%. So if I just go and check on the numbers, आपका बहुत easy estimate होना चाहिए. So your EBITDA will increase from 800. I'm saying gross EBITDA. अभी एक छोटा डिफरेंस बताया था, व्हाट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन ऑपरेटिंग एंड ग्रॉस एबिटा, वो शायद मेरे पहले बता देना चाहिए था. एबिटा इज नॉर्मल पूरे धंधे का, पूरे रेवेन्यू, पूरा धंधा, सब कुछ कंसोलिडेशन का एबिटा पर टन. बट इज ऑपरेटिंग एबिटा खाली सीमेंट और जीजीबीएस बेच के मैंने कितना बना, बिकॉज इन योर नॉन ऑपरेटिंग में वो तुम्हारा सारे सब्सिडरीज एसोसिएट्स का लॉसेस आ गए, वो फेयर वैल्यू एडजस्टमेंट आ गए, तो उसके बाद जो आपका डाइल्यूशन ऑफ द एबिटा पर टन वो हो जाता है, क्योंकि आपका जो नॉमिनेटर है वही बढ़ जाता है ना, एंड डिनोमिनेटर रिमेन्स द सेम. तो ड्यू टू दैट नॉर्मल एबिटा हैज ऑल द कंपोनेंट्स, ऑपरेटिंग हैज खाली आपका सीमेंट एंड जीजीबीएस. दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो इफ दिस टिक्स अप, your EBITDA will increase from roughly 800 crores to maybe 1400 crores, which is very easy. बहुत simple 4 standard mathematics आप कर लेना. So उससे जो आपका EV EBITDA है, that जो अभी आपको 37 on paper दिख रहा है, वो 15 पे आ जाता है. Just you heard it at 15. And one another good thing is Q1 of next financial year में इनका जो 20 का कैपेसिटी है ग्राइंडिंग का, that will go to 26. And what one I would say upper edge with this company is I would say the best thing any company can have, a cement company can have, is having limestone of their own. Limestone is a raw material of cement, core raw material. खुद का होना एक बड़ा अचीवमेंट है और फैक्ट्री के पास होना तो बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा अचीवमेंट है. JSW has got all their limestone reserves very close to their factories. And then they're doing another capex which is going to get installed near Bhushan Steel and Par Ispat Limited, BSPL, जो आपको पता है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में केस चल रहा है, which the company was acquired by Jindal Steel, but it was challenged by its creditors. सो वहां पे 2 MMT पे डाल रहे हैं, हट्टा महाराष्ट्र में डाल रहे हैं, जहाँ पे JSW स्टील का ऑलरेडी बहुत बड़ा सेटअप है. MP में डाल रहे हैं, वन सिटी दे आर डूइंग, कर्नाटका ऑल्सो. सो these guys have limestone in place. So अभी अगर अपन एकदम नॉर्मल से रिसेंट डील्स पे बात करें तो टू मेक 1 MMTPA ग्राइंडिंग फैसिलिटी टेक्स रफली 450 करोड़ का कैपेक्स. ठीक है, अगर आप मार्केट में वैल्यू देखो, अ कंपनी विथ lower realization, no limestone and less logistics gets a selling price of 800 to 900 crore rupees per ton per 1 MMTPA. A company with good realizations, good selling price, good brand, but without limestone, it's 1100 1200 crores. A company with solid brand, solid realization, limestone in place, logistics in place gets 1600 crores. This company falls between fourth and third category. The only issue these guys have is lower EBITDA, lower realizations. But limestone is in place, logistics is in place. You have got everything in place. You have got the backing of the JSW group, and they are doing a lot of internal consumption also. So, what I feel, the company is pretty good. एंड जिस तरीके से लोग इसको ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, दैट आई फील इज ऑन अ रॉन्ग नोट. अगर इफ जस्ट पुट इन द नंबर्स, you will find the value in this company, and I feel this kind of company is mostly should be driven by your foreign investors, क्योंकि अपने म्यूचुअल फंड में एक लिमिट के आगे जाते ही नहीं. आई फील दिस एंड मोस्ट मेनली एफआई ड्रिवन कंपनी शुड इज व्हाट माय टेक ऑन दिस कंपनी वुड बी.
गॉट इट. थैंक्स तन्मय. एक दो क्वेश्चन है यार मेरे, बहुत ही बेसिक नाइव क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है. सो फील फ्री टू डिसरिगार्ड देम, बट फ्रॉम माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये JSW ग्रुप के नेक्स्ट जनरेशन की पहली कंपनी है, पांच जिंदल वगैरह की, राइट? सो कैन यू हेल्प अस एक्सप्लेन कि क्या स्ट्रक्चर क्या है उनका, लाइक व्हाट ऑल एट अ हाई लेवल डज JSW डू, ये कहाँ आता है, हाउ बिग ऑफ अ पार्ट इट इज, JSW1 कहाँ आता है, एट अ हाई लेवल दैट. एंड देन सेकंड क्वेश्चन, green cement, what is exactly the green part in it? Like, do you think that will become big, or what is the theme per se?
Sure, I'll answer the first question. तो पहला है कि the family of the JSW group companies is अभी ये 4th generation पे आ चुके हैं. ठीक है, started from OP Jindal, then one more Jindal, then मतलब I guess 3rd generation, sorry, OP Jindal, then Sachin Jindal. All these guys have got lot of brothers. ठीक है, मैं उसमें नहीं जा रहा हूँ, सबका अपना अलग चीज है. So OP Jindal, Sachin Jindal, Pat Jindal, this has been the very basic 3rd generation. Third generation की कौन सी कंपनीज आ गई? JSW Cement is the largest entity in that. You have got JSW1 Platforms, which is a unicorn company. You have got JSW Motors, which runs MG Motors, and they are developing another 4 EV models. I guess they have got one another company that is into I guess manufacturing segment में company. उसका अभी तक मतलब बहुत ज्यादा hype नहीं, but they have already I guess close 200-300 crores of revenues in that also. So these are 4 main companies, three main, JSW1 Motors, and Paints is also, by the way. Paints is also a new age business for them. So ये 4-5 main business है इनके. Now coming on the second one is green cement. इसमें 2-3 चीजें. If you look at percentage of green power used to manufacture cement, बाकी players का है 8%, 10%, 12%. These guys are 28%. Second, the CO2 emissions per ton are lowest in the world for this company. Okay, I'm saying, and one stroke, मतलब जो इसके बाद का players है 30% ज्यादा है. तो these guys are unbeatable in complete globe for this emission वाला stuff. Another thing is अभी क्या हो रहा है, the ESG certifications, ESG awareness, and your what we can say, environmental sustainability laws and stuff are on a rise from 2023. So when the world will go towards sustainability, especially our country will go towards sustainability, कि भाई आप lower, emissions वाला products use करो, थोड़ा अभी इसमें एक और छोटा point क्या है, these guys use fly ash in their majority products than your clinker. So that is also another. देखो क्या फ्लैश एंड योर क्या होता है, इनका जो रॉ मटेरियल आता है ना, वो जैसे स्टील का जो बाय प्रोडक्ट है उसी से आ जाता है. सो क्या होता है, आपका जो प्रोडक्शन का जो कॉस्ट है दैट इज वन ऑफ द लोएस्ट इन द इंडस्ट्री. सो दीज ऑल 3-4 फैक्टर्स आर बीइंग टर्म्ड एज ग्रीन सीमेंट.
गॉट इट, अंडरस्टूड. अभी ईएसजी थीम इतना चल नहीं रहा है यार, बीच में ईएसजी बहुत हॉट था. तो आई फील
So this
आई
is slow
मिस द
mover.
बस
This is for sure a slow mover. It is an USP, but it's not a stuff which should
ऑफ.
give you an premium, I would say. But it's an what we can say, एक long term का theme है ये.
Got it, got it. But yeah, other than that, also the company looks good, right? So maybe what I will do is with that, we have covered almost all four companies. We'll now just talk about what we are planning to do with each. And this is something which will go in the premium members content. So we're still figuring out how to not put it in space. So we'll see. But yeah, starting with Sachin, your feedback on Star. Are you planning to apply?
Uh,
And why?
yes, some valuation gap is left given that the FY25 base was lower, but that is reduced via OFS. So, but I think some gap is left.
Any
So
भी
we'll
बेटा
look
पे है
forward.
ना, Chandan 14 पे है, correct?
Right.
And Chandan is a slightly superior peer at a high
It
level.
has that hospital chain, pharmacy chain. Yes, so slightly better. Yes.
Although hospital pharmacy को कम देना चाहिए यार, पी फार्मेसी को. I feel radiology
नहीं,
is where the moat is.
वो bottleneck तो है उनका, but they soon will demerge that as well going ahead. So
Got it.
that is one thing to know.
Got it. But
That helps to
it
cater to the
helps to
volumes.
get captive patients, right? Like patients come from the hospital to this radiology. They don't have to give out a lot of
Yes.
kickbacks to doctors to, like, because end of the day radiology is a B2B sort of a model. It is not really B2C. B2C is like छोटा ही होता है. We don't go to radiology center on our own. Some doctor refers us, right? So there are kickbacks which are involved. So if some company has those involved, like directly put in, then it's helpful.
No, actually, Chandan
I
is
think
also
this was
going into B2B, is what I know, and they have already got some good revenues from B2B. They're doing 2-3 another contracts. So I feel उसमें भी अच्छा खासा B2B का what you can say bifurcation है.
I think
किसमें?
इसमें
चंदन?
चंदन में हाँ, उसमें B2B कंपोनेंट अच्छा है.
नहीं, B2B भी है चंदन, मतलब all both of these are in B2B,
हम्म
B2G, B2C. Chandan has B2C mainly, and here
Yeah.
B2G is
The
very
problem is the
more.
B2G. Yeah. Like what I've seen with this diagnostic is it's majorly like Krishna Diagnostics is the one which has the largest B2G component. I think 60-70% of this B2G. They get the lowest valuation because of cash flows. Because you compare their cash flow with any other, like a Vijay or anyone, these guys will be negative cash flow. Everyone else will be positive, and this one will have some 300 days receivables. So the problem for Star is that it's majorly B2G. So it will get a lower multiple than Chandan, which is anyway getting much lower, getting the SME discount from all the similar kind of diagnostics in the main board, which get much higher multiple. So it is cheap. It is looking very cheap to me, but just remember that B2G is the main thing here will be B2G.
Got it. So with that, moving to you, Rohit, to talk about Connplex. What are you planning to do? And then we'll create a priority order as well. I know what I'm planning to do, so I'll share that towards the end.
So I will be applying for Connplex. I am applying with the view that I'm okay to hold this for some time. That is, I don't necessarily foresee a pop 90 crore this market. Again, I told you it reminds me a little bit of GC Hotels, which also listed in a very bad market, listed flat, went negative for 2 days before exploding. So I do feel this is an interesting company, different segment. I'm not going to make a very high allocation. It's going to be a bit of a left field bet with a very small this thing, but I'll apply. And I think I'm guessing we should be able to get allotment also. May not be very overly subscribed, but I'm not buying expecting like serious listing gain or anything. If it happens, good. But otherwise, I'm because it's rare to find people who are coming with a plan to grow 60-70%, and it's looking visible. That growth is looking visible. Given he claims he has the LOIs for all of this, working capital will unlock it for him. And if he can grow 60-70%, getting it at 18 times is not bad.
Got it.
One thing on this Connplex, that pre-IPO happened at 142 per share, and now this IPO is coming at 177. So already priced to premium around 20-25%.
When did that pre-IPO happen?
In May and June, this
Which was
25.
2.5
28,
months ago.
25. Yes.
Got it.
That's a slight pointer to consider because I also feel could have been slightly cheaper, but even at 18 times, if the growth is there, maybe can apply limited in order to get some allocation. Moving forward, Sachin, to talk about all time.
I felt it decent. The business can't be replaced in one day, but the growth outlook suggests that nothing major. So short-term pop only. And the issue size is also very small, so tough to get allotment as well.
Yeah, but I think कि इसमें ना problem वही है यार कि महंगा है. Like it is expensive, right?
महंगा तो है.
सब कुछ महंगा
And
है. I
now
don't know
the
that the markets have
comparison is
fallen, right? But still, IPOs are still like SMEs are coming at 18, 20 average. They had went back to like 12, 14, which was good number to bring them at, especially good company. Now everything's coming back at 18, yeah, which is not, it doesn't leave a lot of scope for holding for longest period of time. Maybe this is like at 37, 40 times forward, na? So trailing. So it's just too expensive for the kind of growth.
that is more due to the peers shown, Shelly and Cello. So maybe just because of that, nothing else.
But दोनों पे तो फिर IPOs ही है ना, because Sally you are saying is because of that injectable thing and Cello is a B2C, so उसको ज्यादा brand recognition
Yes.
है, so दोनों ही अलग peer है.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It should fit in somewhere in the middle. That's I think, or probably lower.
yeah. Let's see. Then moving to
Actually,
Tanmay.
I'll add, something in all-time plastic. So what I felt कि इनका जो EBITDA that is I guess 105 crores approx if I'm not wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, if my number is wrong. But the PAT conversion is just 47 crores. So what I'm seeing कि the depreciation and interest cost में they are I guess losing a lot after the EBITDA. तो इसमें दो चीज है. First is your repayment of debt should bring down the interest cost by roughly 12 crores in FY27 for sure, or approx 5 crore in 26. And the depreciation, I feel जो आपका जो दूसरा प्लांट था मानिक उसका ऑलरेडी काम चल रहा है, and that should get live I guess in the Q4 or Q4 of 26 or Q1 of 27. So
Right.
तो वो हाँ तो
Yes. Yes.
वो जो उसका चीज है बिकॉज सी एंड ऑफ द डे ना IKEA is I would say world's finest, one of the finest in the plastic consumer wear and your wooden products, and they're also what I know is कि ये थोड़ा वुडन में भी जाने वाले हैं, आई गेस उसका पार्ट ऑफ चीज लिखा भी है. सो आई फील द नंबर ऑफ distribution your IKEA has, that is a company which is growing in double digits, even having that big extremely big base to grow. So it's a what we call sticky revenue, and that is increasing by a decent margin. I guess mid double digits or low double digits में ही हो रहा है वो, and that should increase further. So what I felt कि after debt repayment and capex का मतलब this is a pure FY27 story. 26 में बहुत ज्यादा I don't expect, because जो इन्होंने एक्चुअली I'm tracking this company since long, IPO का फाइल हुआ तब से कर रहा हूँ. So what numbers we had उससे इसने अंडर परफॉर्म ही किया by a good margin, not a small margin, good margin. So I felt कि 27 का प्योर स्टोरी. बट इफ आई लुक एट EBITDA लेवल, बिकॉज EBITDA के बाद ये बहुत मिट्टी खा रहा है, तो EBITDA पे दिस कंपनी इज कमिंग एट रफली 16 टाइम्स अप्रॉक्स इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, 16 टाइम्स के आसपास. सेलो चल रहा है कुछ 24-25, और तुम्हारा शैली तो 40 टाइम्स पे आसपास है. तो शैली से डिफरेंट की को क्योंकि उसका पैड 20 टका, इसका EBITDA 18 टका है. तो दैट इज अ बिग डिफरेंट. और ऑटोमोटिव में भी बहुत बड़ा पोर्टफोलियो शैली का, and Shelly is different. But what valuations market is giving actually very premium to, but still okay. बिकॉज दोनों में ना रेवेन्यू में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं, बट पैट एंड मार्जिन प्रोफाइल एंड प्रोडक्ट पोर्टफोलियो में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस. एंड सेलो had anticipated to go into glassware, which didn't work out that well. And the growth for FY26 has been slow, even though it wasn't expected. So I felt ki this should come between Shelly and Cello. I know Cello has its own brand. I'm not saying, but the prospects are also decent. But I felt ki शायद that was a personal take कि अगर FY20 शायद अगले साल IPO के लाते, so that could have fetched them higher valuations and higher investor confidence. I'm not saying it's an overweight apply or anything, but I felt it's not a bad company, but मतलब वही यार थोड़ा स्लो मूविंग कंपनी काइंड ऑफ अ कंपनी है ये. डिसेंट कंपनी है. अब EBITDA पे आपको रीजनेबल लगेगा. आई एम नॉट सीइंग चीप. 16 टाइम्स EBITDA इज नॉट चीप एट ऑल, बट दिस इज FY25 फॉर श्योर. तो वो देखते हैं हाउ डज इट पैंस आउट. बट मतलब आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि ये बहुत जल्दी बहुत पैसा बना के देगा, बट डिसेंट कंपनी शुड डू वेल इन लॉन्ग टर्म.
600 CR was the target for FY25 and they did around
करेक्ट.
560.
नहीं, अगर उससे भी थोड़ा ज्यादा था,
They,
उससे भी
they
थोड़ा
did,
ज्यादा था. आई हैव द मॉडल
yes,
ऑल्सो.
but they
नहीं,
underperformed to
अंडर
the
परफॉर्म आई गेस उससे ज्यादा ही किया है. 600 से ज्यादा टारगेट था. इज व्हाट आई एम रिमेम्बरिंग. 4 महीने पहले की बात है, तो ना थोड़ा याददाश्त कमजोर है, बट स्टिल आई रिमेम्बर उससे थोड़ा ज्यादा, 10-15% अंडर परफॉर्म के. इज व्हाट आई एम नो एबल टू रिकॉल एट टॉप ऑफ मोमेंट.
at least if pre-IPO price पे
हाँ हाँ,
अपन
दैट
248
एक्चुअली डिड नॉट
they
लाइक.
get
शायद प्री आईपीओ प्राइस पे अपन सोच भी लेते कि ठीक है फेयर है यार, बट प्री आईपीओ प्राइस से सब महंगा क्यों लाना है, और खाली 20 दिन में. सो दैट इज आई फेल्ट इट इज रॉन्ग. बट देखते हैं मतलब. एंड एंकर बुक टू बी वेरी फ्रैंक मुझे बहुत इंप्रेसिव नहीं लगी. आई फेल्ट इट कुड हैव बीन मच बेटर. मतलब ठीक है, मतलब 6/10 एंकर बुक था.
Correct. So that leaves us in a limbo for the third company, sub company. Not having a perfect decision with that. Let's move to JSW Cement. What is your plan on JSW Cement? Tanmay?
आई विल डेफलाइन.
Okay,
I'll be applying as well.
okay.
क्या है पता है क्या
So,
यार, जो जो जनता को समझ नहीं आता मुझे वहां पे मजा आता है. Because I know what, see, क्या होता है, if you look the numbers on the top ना without using your brain कि भाई FY25 वो बेचारे सीमेंट कंपनीज के लिए कैसे गए. Just ask any small company in the whole country, you will know what has happened. So वो बहुत बुरे फेज से निकले. But the Q1 has been very fantastic and I feel lot of value, lot of re-ratings left in the listed space itself. तो अगर आप नंबर्स को देखो ना, तो आपको दालमिया मिलेगा 15 times 25. रैमको मिलेगा अराउंड दैट ओनली, बट श्री सीमेंट एंड जो अल्ट्राटेक है दैट इज एट रफली 22 टाइम्स, 21 टाइम्स, 23 टाइम्स. चलो नुओ को तो 8 टाइम पे, वो तो अलग प्लेयर है, उसको तो मैं इंडस्ट्री के बाहर ही मानता हूँ. एट दिस पॉइंट नुओ को इज नॉट अ प्लेयर. एंड योर 20 का 26 हो जाएगा, ठीक है. योर EBITDA per ton will increase by rough minimum 25%. 25 is the worst benchmark I'm saying. GGBS का रियलाइजेशन बढ़ेगा 13 से 15%, वहां से ग्रोथ आएगा. जो 33% रेवेन्यू था, आपका लॉसेस ऑफ द सब्सिडीज एंड एसोसिएट्स विल गो डाउन. The JSW brand itself is a big brand, and decent. I would say extremely solid, but decent to good institutional interest. So, and 15 times, 14 times, 16, 14 to 16 times EBITDA for 26. I feel is not very expensive, neither cheap. Cheap बहुत बोलता है 12, 13, 14 times, but still वो 13, 14 और 50, 14, 15 बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस है. नहीं शायद ये 20,000 के जगह पे अगर 18,000, 17,000 होता तो यार मुंह में पानी आ जाता है, भयंकर पैसा बन जाता है इसमें. बट स्टिल आई एम वेरी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक टुवर्ड्स दिस कंपनी. मुझे जो उन लोग निगेटिविटी कर रहे हैं, तो दो रीजन से, एक तो उनको नंबर समझ नहीं आते, एक तो उन्होंने देखा नहीं है. एंड अगर आईपीओ कल क्लोज है स्टिल नेगेटिव मींस उन्होंने देखा नहीं है. सो आई फेल्ट की द पब्लिक इज गोइंग टू इग्नोर दिस एंड अलॉटमेंट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी. सी ये 3% खुलेगा, 10% खुलेगा, 20% खुलेगा, 0 खुलेगा, माइनस मेरे को नहीं पता. बट आई फील आई दिस इज वर्थ ऑफ माई टाइम बिकॉज आई डोंट हैव एनी आईपीओस वेरी सून. मतलब मेरा फ्लिप हो जाएगा पैसा. एंड आई एम वेरी ओके टू होल्ड दिस कंपनी फॉर आउट से 1 month और 2 month और 3 months. उसके ज्यादा मैं नहीं रखूंगा. सीमेंट आई एम नॉट अ बिग फैन, बट व्हाट आई फील की सेकेंडरी में बहुत री-रेटिंग होना बाकी है. सो प्राइमरीली उनका वैल्यूएशन जो 15-16 है वो 17-18-19 पुश हो जाएगा. ब्रोकरेज रिपोर्ट्स तो पड़ी है पब्लिकली अवेलेबल. यू कैन जस्ट रीड what things are happening in the space. I would say cement is the only undervalued. I would say cement and housing finance is the only undervalued, what I would say, pockets left in the market at this point, because valuations are stretchy. Yes, the correction has been 10-15% very in like last 2 weeks, but still valuations are very pricey for majority sectors. But I see lot value in cement and housing finance. So पे तो वहां पे re-rating and this guy coming with a everything super limestone खुद का है भाई green है GGBS भी बेच रहा है 85% market share in India and any product any fucking product is not easy 85% market share इसको बोलते हैं RMC is picking up like anything I'll just there's a small company no not small company there's a big company उसका आईपीओ भी आने वाला है सो आई जस्ट वेंट टू इट्स नंबर आरएमसी का इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा कंपनी है मैन व्हाट ग्रोथ दे आर डूइंग मैं 2,000 करोड़ के रेवेन्यू पे 30% ग्रोथ की बात हो रही है सो दैट इज बिन आरएमसी इज ग्रोइंग जीजीबीएस इज गोइंग टू ग्रो लाइक एनीथिंग सो आपका उसके कंपाउंड भी बेचता है ये उसमें भी तो कंपाउंड तो आई फेल्ट कि देयर इज अ डिसेंट growth on the table, not decent, very great growth in FY26, which is pending. And 27 will be driven by your another 6 MTP. So I'm fairly optimistic on this company.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, so my plan is very simple. I'll be applying to JSW Cement. Whatever's left will go to Connplex. Rest all will have to wait. That is what my strategy is. Anyone else has a different strategy amongst you all, let's share that and then probably end the space. It's been 1.5 hours again. Somehow we always overshoot on time.
I need to digest what Tanmay said. I have absolutely zero idea about JSW Cement till Tanmay's review, and it was a super comprehensive one. So I'm going to make my mind up from that. I'll take a call in like a day or two.
I'll tell you one thing यार एक्चुअली ना मैं सोच के आया था कि अपने को जेएसडब्ल्यू सीमेंट ना बहुत कॉम्प्रहेंसिवली कवर करना है आई वाज वेरी प्रिपेयर्ड बट टुडे आई एम एक्चुअली अ वेरी बैड पोजीशन टू डू अ स्पेस तो मैंने आई नो आई हैव कॉम्प्रहेंसिवली कवर्ड बट आई नो कि मैं शायद और चीजें बोल सकता था बट ड्यू टू नॉट हैविंग दैट काइंड ऑफ प्लेटफॉर्म सो मैं नहीं बोल पाऊंगा सो डू go through yourself in my IPO review actually I am out of my town so I'll be reaching tonight like 1-2 so I'll try my best to post in like more comprehensive manner but I would request everyone to go through the what company for sure it's a super interesting company लगाना है कि नहीं that's your call but at least you will gain a lot of knowledge by reading this company it's one of the most complex IPOs I've ever seen but a good one for sure worth your time.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think even Star, I feel there is something on the table for short term, just given the absolute valuations are low. But I will view that more as a flip, if at all. And Connplex is something I'm okay to hold. And JSW will make up my mind. All time, I don't think I'll be applying.
All time मैं बहुत excited था. All time I have like nostalgia associated with that brand. ठीक है.
Then apply.
Nostalgia will remain nostalgia. With that, we'll kind of close today's space. Just want to highlight we have not done Bluestone jewelry. We'll do Bluestone jewelry, Regal resources separately in a different video. And then we'll see if you want to do any of these IoTex publishing and ICOTex publishing and Mahindra Realtors as well. We will closing, but like at on site prima facie looked slightly okayish companies only. So we'll see what we want to do in part 2 of the space. But want to again highlight what we are doing is not a qualified opinion. What we say, what we are planning to do, and again you'll see we are also confused at this moment of time, right? Like there's no right decision. We are basically saying what makes sense according to us right now. Can we change it? Yes, depending on let's say how QIP subscription is, etc. We'll continue to use Twitter to post what we are doing, and then we'll also post this on YouTube. I want to again highlight that we are looking for different models to monetize this. One of them is through YouTube memberships. If you haven't looked at our YouTube and our memberships, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel like, definitely join the membership as well. We'll come up with better ways on this. With that, we'll end today's space. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining by.
Thank you.